4th of July podcast. We're going to talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's a well-known phrase from the United States Declaration of Independence. The phrase gives the example of the unalienable rights which the Declaration says have been given to all humans by their Creator.
A few moments ago, the Senate unanimously passed the National Plan to End Parkinson's Act, a bill that for the first time marshals agencies across the government to tackle this disease, this awful disease, in a comprehensive way. I thank
Hold on. Let me see somebody else checking in. Herb Lair, ladies and gentlemen, is checking in. And he is on his iPad. He's watching. Now, Herb has his own podcast, and it's a wonderful podcast. It is My Happy Place, and it focuses primarily on struggles with Parkinson's, but nonetheless, he has special guests. I was on it. Dave Woodman was on it. And one of the people that was on his podcast now has a best-selling book because he was on Herb's podcast.
When your guardian angel comes to visit and leaves you with a big smile, nothing better. Lida's new mission is Healing Angel. Simply
All right, so we're going to do a little podcast here. I'm glad to have Lida, who I've off and on for several years.
Pathologist and the founder of Parkinson Voice Project, and I'm here to help you establish and maintain a consistent speak out home practice routine.
Speaking with Intent podcast was inspired by my most recent podcast with Frank O'Meara.
When you have something that's physical, some people make it more mental. It really
I have a problem with my voice, with talking, and I always have been soft voice, but now it's more pronounced. So I'm starting speech therapy, and so I have to speak with intent.
With this bill, we're taking one step closer to bringing this awful disease to an end, and I thank the bill goes to the President's desk.
When I'm around Parkinson's, other people feel Parkinson's. It's a game. Who's doing the best sometimes?
Your mother, and I think the fact that she was pretty much, didn't use that much, and I'm sure never used it. Well, that's kind of with my parents. I can't remember them ever saying anything.
No, it would have been.
It was just the way it was, wasn't it?
I never had examinations or something like that.
Well, you know.
Okay, we're ready for our podcast. And
Right.
Who do I have? Okay, on this podcast on the 4th of July, it's going to be a little more audio than video. And I've said in the past, because I'm using people, including myself, with Parkinson's, I think the video is important to see people and, the condition, and also you can see a lot more about their facial expressions and their speech. But in this particular case, I wanted to go into artificial intelligence. I know that when you're a senior and you get to a certain age, then you think, well, that guy's just a little unplugged and he's into something he really doesn't know anything about. And so when I'm doing my podcast, I wanted to go back and maybe explain to some people what my credentials are. And I think you're going to find that since I have been doing this in depth over the last 12 years, and not only that, as far as my technical expertise in software and what I did with the cable software, artificial intelligence and Internet of Things and all the things that you're seeing are part of my history. And I wanted to make sure that you understood that I have as good a credentials as anybody and maybe better than most. You'll see that in an appendix as far as one of the
Appendix
things that I
B.
have. And I'm using Speechify in coming back to show an article that I wrote a few months ago concerning artificial intelligence. And I took the example about Harrison, Arkansas, and how it could have been the headquarters of Walmart. And as maybe as ridiculous as that sounds, you're going to see that artificial intelligence has taken some of the information and can verify that. So I wanted to use that example to show something I've done in the past. And many people read that article because I keep track of that because it was on LinkedIn, so I know who saw it, and it's a real broad group of people. Of course, the Fayetteville and Little Rock area are a little more concentrated, but it's a national interest. So I want you to view that, and I want you to maybe stick with that or go to the, as far as some of the appendix and see some of the actual work experiences I've had. These are not things that I did as a hobby. These were things that were well-paying consulting jobs, and some involved travel to Orlando and out to Denver, and I spent some time there. And of course, I worked with an individual in Denver that we worked with a product out of Germany, and so I spent some time on that. But other than that, I wanted to make sure that you saw that there's quite a bit of money that was generated during that 12-year period, which I've referred to on occasion between when I left the financial services and when I did some consulting. Of course, I was director of 911 for Boone County for a couple of years, and I did a project with James Leawitt and Jim Guy Tucker on LED and some other projects with some of their, they were trying to develop some things with, I guess, replacements for fuel, and we went into several different opportunities there, and I made some introductions there with the FedEx Freight in Harrison, and also worked with that and some other things with some of the old CEO clients. So there was quite a bit of time spent there over that period of time, as well as some things I found in my, since I had the experience in financial services, I had a sizable term life that was, I think, in the $500,000 range that I got a substantial amount of money for, which some people don't believe a term life is valuable, but as you know, when they expire, you're very expensive to continue, but other people are betting that you're going to not live as long as you may think you're going to live, and maybe I'm surprised and so far. But there's other things that come into play like that and other opportunities I've had. So it hasn't been just sitting still over that period of time, and I wanted to make sure that it's not somebody that's come up with something recently on artificial intelligence, because there's occasion that a lot of people, as I talk to different people, that they have a tendency to gaslight you because when you have physical disabilities, they think you have mental disabilities, and maybe your mental disability, maybe your mental capacities are just as good or better than they've ever been. And I have been able to do a lot of things, even within the podcast, as far as handling it all myself to a certain level, and I know that there's some things that I could improve, and eventually we will get sponsors, and I know I'm working right now with the potential of the podcast not only being on YouTube, but going over to Apple. And once that happens, I think our numbers will increase exponentially. So the people that's on board and getting on board will see some things happen, and there have been some really some very good interviews that I've had with people that have given it a lot of credibility. So we're going to build from that base, and so get on board. I think I put something out there that's we're off to the moon. Okay, the following Clark Griswold clip is just to kind of make light of the thing we were involved with Waymo when we went out into Phoenix, and that was one of the things I wanted to do with Christy, since she has some disabilities and been reluctant to drive, at least on her own. And so I wanted to show the possibilities that are there, that you may be using Uber or Lyft or something, but even as exotic as Waymo, and really didn't seem to phase her, so that was very important. But I use the little clip here to kind of make light of something that's a little different as far as travel.
Wagon.
Dad, this is not the car you ordered.
Take it easy, Rusty. Ed, this is not the car I ordered. I distinctly ordered the Antarctic Blue Super Sports Wagon with the CB and the optional Rally Fun Pack.
You didn't order the Metallic P?
Metallic P? No, Antarctic Blue. The sports wagon. This isn't even the right model.
You know, I think you're right. I don't think this is the car. This is the new Wagon Queen family truckster. This is a damn fine automobile, if you want my honest opinion. Beats the hell out of the sports wagon, but I want to make you happy, huh? Davenport! I'll get to the bottom of this.
Yes, Mr. Ed.
Mr. Griswold ordered a blue sports wagon. Where is it?
I don't know, sir.
I know what must have happened. It didn't come in.
Ed, I'm not your ordinary everyday fool, okay? Now, I'd like my Antarctic Blue Super Sports Wagon right now, and if you can't get it for me, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. Where's my old car?
I'm just as upset as you are, believe me. Davenport! Get Mr. Griswold's car back and bring it back here! I can get you the wagon. There's no problem there. The problem is it might take 6 weeks. Now, I owe it to myself to tell you, Mr. Griswold, that if you're thinking of taking the tribe cross-country, this is the automobile you should be using, the Wagon Queen family truckster. You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
I don't want to drive it. I just want my old car back, okay? I'm not falling for this bit.
No way. Let's go, Russ.
Yeah, well, I wanted Christy to kind of do that and record her getting into the Waymo, but I couldn't get her to do the rusty thing, so we just got in and rode, and not really any problem. And she was more, I guess, nervous getting on the commuter flight going out of Harrison to Dallas and riding on the Waymo. I guess it's on the ground, and it didn't seem to faze her at all.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it. La 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 la. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. It's Friday night and I feel alright. The party's here on the west side. So I reach for my 40 and I turn it up. Designated driver, take the keys to my truck. Hit the shawl cause I'm faded. Honey's in the streets, say money, yo, we made it. It feels so good in my hood tonight. The summertime skirts and the guys ain't canine. All the gangbangers forgot.
You can drink my liquor, you can call take my money, you can smoke my blunt. Scuff these Jordans, you can say you hate me, you can call me crazy, but don't touch my truck.
Okay, next I wanted to introduce you to Craig Settles. He's a media expert on telehealth, and I've had some business relations with him, and we've had some interesting times, and I've done some interviews with him and spent, I don't know, I've got copies on YouTube, I guess, of several minutes up to maybe a couple of hours. But what I wanted to show you with Craig was that he has a stroke, and so when I kind of brought him on an interview, I wanted to talk about the impact of artificial intelligence and the fact that the rural health really made a major mistake. It was a boondoggle because they failed to put telehealth at the center when they were trying to build the programs, and it just took a lot more money and effort. And I wanted to make that pitch because I think with the Parkinson's Act, it can be done much more efficiently with people who have a lot of experience and have dealt with a lot of the solutions instead of putting a lot of people in positions that might not work. And so that's the reason I wanted to pull this off at this time and show you that things that you have like, Apple Watches or any other devices, you see they go into a record and they're out there. The important thing there is that all the entertainment people get this, Ticketmaster, obviously the airlines, and they know if you need a wheelchair or not. They can see how much you've walked. And the people at Ticketmaster could tell if you have a disability or you're just telling them you have a disability. There are a lot of things out there that's captured, and that's why I wanted to show this at this time, that people who are traveling, and it may be people with Parkinson's and disability, there are a lot of devices out there that should be used more effectively for people to travel and make it more efficient.
Outspoken advocate for telehealth, and I'm advocating that these broadband networks that are being built use telehealth on these networks as a way to get these people signed up for the networks. So they all, because the ultimately the goal of the NTIA is to have unserved or underserved populations get online. So that's their primary mission. Okay. Right? I'm sort of adding on to the mission and saying if you use telehealth to reach these different populations, you will not only get healthier populations, but you also get people signed up for broadband. So it's like a two-for deal.
Okay. How did you feel about that? And I guess the project I'm working on, and again, it deals with people with disabilities and looking for their happy place, and also some of the aspects of telehealth that we're kind of dealing with as far as people with disabilities. So I just want to see what your thoughts were as far as our interview, and then we'll go to the final question there.
Yeah, the main thing that I wanted to get is how telehealth can help people with disabilities, right? Because we have these different programs, the internet programs, digital inclusion programs, and so forth. And there's always a question when it comes to people with disabilities, right? Where sometimes the attempt to try to get more people with disabilities involved in the technology, right? Sometimes it leaves people off the list, right? Okay. And so that was my, I think one of the questions. But we can talk about that again if you want to recap what you said.
Okay. Well, I think what I was kind of getting down to was at this point, it was the fact that artificial intelligence and a lot of other things are starting to deal with the data that's gathered, and what's happened is that there's a great amount of data that's being collected, because we know that with people like Epic Systems up in Madison where my grandson works, and we also know that Apple and Apple Watches are so we want to know that information when people are traveling or they're with disabilities, that they're not being they're not having to be having to discover a lot of information. We want them to be able to have that information right at their hands. And other people, if there's issues, I know I did Smart 911 at times, and having that information available if something comes up is really important. I think what we were getting to there is there are going to be ways, because it's been done in the past with a lot of behavioral marketing or behavioral gathering of data and target marketing. So that was really kind of where I was wanting to get to, is that point. But I think what the other point was, you got to deal with differences of people and not jump to conclusions, and some of that is having that information available and not being hesitant to have that information available when issues come up. Excuse me.
Right, because it seems like it can people can make assumptions about the different types of disabilities, right? You have the main disabilities like hard of hearing, or hearing impaired, vision impaired, people who can't have mobility issues, and we sort of have that as our barometer. Well, are you one of those? Yeah. Right? Well, if you're not, they may not be able to, they may not have made allowances for people with those particular different types of disabilities. Yeah. So we can't allow either the government or local government to pigeonhole people and say, well, because we have services that cater to these 4 or 5 types of disabilities, that may not be what's now. And so, like when you mentioned the point, I think it was your daughter, I think, that has a disability, but it's not one of the the big 4. It's a different kind of
it's a very special issue. It's oral facial digital syndrome, and most people will confuse it with something else of broader terms, as you mentioned. Well, the only thing else, and again, you're a stroke victim, so you probably see that I know a lot of people have different situations after they have a stroke, and it affects them a lot of different ways. I mean, it's not all the same.
Oh, definitely.
So you're kind of living that case too. So I understand that. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. I know I didn't want to tie you up too long, but I was wanting to say, what are you thinking about as far as looking for your happy place, or what have you thought about it? It just maybe a place that you'd like to go, or just a thought along those lines, because that's kind of what we're talking about in this series here, or this docu-series. Is what?
Well, I guess one of my happier of my possible happy spaces. I'm a musician, and I play in a little combo. I play in a concert band, and I play at a wind ensemble group. And each of those has, I guess, therapeutic properties.
Right.
One, I get to be with people, mm-hmm. right? Instead of being, working alone and all of that, right? So it's a social thing. my brain gets exercised a lot. As a percussionist, we often have a lot of, lots of periods where we have to just count. And if we lose our count, right, we're in big trouble, right? That craft will come in at the wrong time, whatever. But it's a way, when I first got back to playing, I hadn't been playing for like about 30, 40 years. That's basically since college, right? So so I had the stroke, and then 2 years after that, a friend of mine said, "Why don't you come join our band?" And the first few practices, it was crazy because I'm trying to watch the conductor, trying to watch the music, trying to play the music when it's time, right? And all that gave me a headache. Like the first time I had a headache since I had the stroke, and it's not the thing that you would think about, because when I was a musician, you didn't think about all this because it was just automatic. You were trained, and so, but being back in it again allows me to enjoy the music. I'm playing, and in one group I played for a while. They have strings, so they're an orchestra with string, violin, and stuff, and that is the most incredible experience. Right? I'm always worried that I'm going to get so lost in watching the strings play that I'll miss my own cue.
Well, I think that's a good thought. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't know that. And then we're going to be talking some more, but I wanted to wrap this up pretty quickly today. So I really appreciate your time.
No worries.
Okay.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay.
And I'll let you know when I get the report done, so you can check that out.
Okay, I will. Okay, my AI article written about a year ago had to do with finally Walmart is moving headquarters to Harrison, Arkansas after authenticating Sam Walton's last will request through AI. And I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview of that. I'm going to have the Speechify version following this, but you can see if you want to go to LinkedIn and read this article in detail, it's still out there, and you'll be able to see the things that I refer to in the article as far as the Speechify details. So it's out there, and you can, like this, you can see the Duncan parking meter, or you could see other things that might come up there. And there's the table that shows Bentonville and Harrison, and you can go on through from there. Then there's the Walton homes. A little bit different than the demographics of the typical customer of $80,000 income. And then you can see some of the issues that's been in Harrison. Not only had a black Miss Harrison, but preacher at First Christian. And then you'll see a flag there that's in a town right outside Bentonville, in a business, and then from Gravett. So you just kind of flip on through and see all the things that's in the story. And as you go along, you'll find that a reference of, Appendix B is the one that has all the different people I work for. And again, these are paid consultant jobs. They're not something that I've just looked into as a hobby or anything. So I know very much, quite a bit about each of these. And the Don Ray connection, where we put our second system in Rogers, and they bought that system. And that's it. Artificial intelligence has determined Sam Walton's final request. Great for Harrison, not so great for Bentonville. Handshake deal uncovered by AI was made by Sam Walton to put Walmart headquarters in Harrison. Every day there are events happening that are much less believable. Liv and PGA merger, money wins over integrity. Can't wait to see how Liv rewrites the PGA history. Will Mickelson become the greatest golfer ever? Guess Jack and Tiger will be also runs, or recent FedEx 50th year celebration in Memphis, not Little Rock. FedEx moved to Memphis from Little Rock. The company was founded in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1971 as Federal Express Corporation by Frederick W. Smith, a graduate of Yale University. Why did FedEx leave Little Rock, Arkansas? In one of the most lamented chapters of our city's history, Smith made the decision to move his company to Memphis in 1973. Many reasons have been cited for this momentous move. Additional startup funding was needed, airport improvements were imperative, and Smith needed a cooperative and supportive community culture. Guess Jack and Whit Stevens, Inc. were Mia, risky startup requiring millions. Reasons? The clip talks about FedEx losing $29 million the first 3 years, with employees being asked to not cash checks. No mention of Little Rock or Smith's well-publicized gambling trip to Vegas. FedEx began operations in April 1973 and quickly grew. However, rising fuel costs eventually caught up with the young company, putting FedEx millions of dollars in debt, Entrepreneur reported. Investors declined to give FedEx more money, and Entrepreneur reported that bankruptcy was a distinct possibility. That when the company had only $5,000 left, Smith pitched General Dynamics for more funding, but the board refused. On his way home, Smith took a detour to Las Vegas and won $27,000 playing blackjack, which he wired back to FedEx. Forbes reported, the $27,000 wasn't decisive, but it was an omen that things would get better. Smith said about the gamble, according to Entrepreneur. I was very committed to the people that had signed on with me, and if we were going to go down, we were going to go down with a fight, he said. It wasn't going to be because I checked out and didn't finish. After his blackjack win, Smith was able to raise another $11 million, the magazine reported. And by 1976, FedEx's revenue had reached $75 million, according to Forbes. Sam Walton handshake agreement per AI to move WM headquarters Harrison is much more plausible than the PGA or FedEx stories. Uncovering the truth and facts about moving Walmart headquarters to Harrison. ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, Sam Walton believed that the success of the Harrison store was critical to the success of Walmart. He saw it as a key part of the company's growth strategy and a way to test out new ideas and strategies. He also believed that the store's success would be a major factor in the success of Walmart's overall business. ChatGPT. It is true that Sam Walton received a handshake agreement in Harrison to set up store number 2, which was a pivotal moment in the growth of Walmart. The success of this store and the model of serving a geographic area with multiple stores was replicated by Walmart throughout the country and was a key factor in the company's growth from its early days to its later days. Excerpt from Pulitzer Prize winner Vance H. Trimble book. Harrison was a prosperous town with old-fashioned traditions built on integrity and word of honor among its merchants and professional people. Sam Walton discovered the intrinsic and binding power of a handshake when he picked the town 80 miles east of Rogers as the location for Walmart number 2. Sam made countless personal visits. Sam Walton and analysts were reported as saying without the success of the Harrison store, there would not be a Walmart company today. If you read Trimble's book, you find that Sam Walton knew very little about actually running a retail business. He learned more about retail from his Harrison employees than he taught them. His role was as a visionary. His decision to use the melons and donkey came from his part P.T. Barnum, part Billy Graham style. Handshake deals with visionaries rarely have success. Much like lottery winners who get all the media attention, I'm yet to see a list of the biggest lottery losers. Rewriting history, Stuart Walton, son of Jim, grandson of Sam, spoke at a recent Harrison Economic Development Conference and distanced himself and other heirs from importance of Harrison store #2. HTT excerpt. Walton began his presentation with a vintage video provided by the Walmart Museum in Bentonville of the comments of executive, not at that time, 12 years later after the heavy lifting was done. David Glass on the opening day of Walmart store number 2 in Harrison. Glass told the story that he attended opening day just to see what Bud and Sam were up to. But most executives with the new company didn't think it was wise to put a store in a town the size of Harrison in 1964, so they didn't pay much attention to it. Really? Wrong. Not according to Sam Walton in reporting, where accuracy has been confirmed by the highest reputable sources. Hey, Stewart and Walmart heirs, get off your high horse bikes and check out AI for the truth. Don't let stories about the disastrous grand opening fool you. Walmart Store 2 has been highly successful. Harrison Walmart serves a large region, and over a 3-day period, 80,000 people come from local and away shoppers. That's 3 or 4 in the state for online grocery sales. All the details on how Waltons today can remake a community are captured in my article June 2022. Some wealthy people remember their friends in low places. Others ask, what have you done for me lately? Waltons. Harrison, remind me again, why are you important to me? Now, social distance between $80,000 average income of Walmart shopper and $1 billion. Light years. Also, the dollar difference between an average Walmart shopper and a second, third generation beneficiary. Walton family. At $238 billion, the Waltons are the richest family in the world thanks to their massive stake in Walmart, the world's largest company by revenue. Investopedia. The current richest family in the world is the Walton family with a net worth of $173.10 billion. May 28, 2023, or estimated wealth $224.50 billion. No matter the amount, still considered richest family in the world, similar to Saudi Arabia, handling human rights an issue, hard to put in terms people can understand. Dallas, according to Redfin, has 330,028 homes that would cost a total of $109.40 billion to purchase. Terms most can appreciate. $70 gas fill-up for an average Walmart customer is equivalent to 5 cents to a billionaire. But how many billionaires drive gas guzzlers opting for EVs? Note, value of $1 for the average American equates to only $355 for the typical billionaire. $70, $1,355 equal to 0.5. In Walmart's critical early days, the Harrison model was replicated in nearly 100% of their most successful new stores. A city serving a large geographical area. Harrison served a 70-mile radius before Branson explosion, from Springfield, Missouri to Conway, Little Rock to Fayetteville to Jonesboro. I use that story so I'm more familiar than the Walton heirs, along with Harrison being the home of Duncan parking meters, in my numerous sales trips across the U.S. and later globally. I saw parking meters with Harrison AR on them from Rodeo Drive to Buenos Aires, still on the ones in Little Rock, although no longer in Harrison. Always an attention getter, along with Walmart too. History recorded by locals, publications, books, encyclopedia, and even more recently AI reports that Walmart's success was totally dependent on the success of Harrison. The success of this store and the model of serving a geographic area with multiple stores was replicated by Walmart throughout the country and was a key factor in the company's growth from its early days to its later days. Additional startup funding was needed, airport improvements were imperative, and FedEx Smith needed a cooperative and supportive community culture. All were found by Sam Walton in Harrison. Handshake agreement, working with local entrepreneurs from Bob Wheeler to Sheridan Garrison to Joe Miller. Bankers from Rabbie Rhodes to Frank Kaufman to Tom Bill Rogers. Most effective Arkansas U.S. Congressman ever from the 3rd District was from Harrison. John Paul Hammerschmidt served from the 60s to the 90s. Check the comparison table below. Diversity percentage in Harrison today, not much different than other North Arkansas and southern Missouri cities and towns. My neighbors include a Mexican family who owns a restaurant and a Philippine family who own a physical therapy building and business. How diverse are the neighborhoods near the Waltons? As diverse as the Walmart board. As of April 2023, the Walmart board included 27% women and 18% directors who are racially ethnically diverse. Walmart has a highly sophisticated marketing strategy based on the big data gathered from customers. Recommended by LinkedIn. Insanity leads to greatness. Chaitin B 4 years ago. The gamble that paid off. How FedEx's $5,000 billion set. Amaryl Harney 8 months ago. Exploring the parallels between .com era failures. Sushil 1 year ago. Lack of action taken when lone Black Lives Matter protesters showed up unannounced on their parking lot is a strong indicator they were not going to offend their customer base, locally, regionally, or nationally. Walmart knows that over a 3-day period, 80,000 people come from local and away shoppers. Harrison population is only 13,000. Since the Los Angeles-based producer came to Harrison without the knowledge or support of national, regional, and local BLM officials, and I didn't recognize any of the Walmart customers in a highly edited video that went viral. Where was the investigation by Walmart? After the massacre at their El Paso store? Distribution and acceptance by Washington Post and others was solely based on the fake moniker created by a UK tabloid. Where were the Waltons when that happened? Official statement. Walmart management was discouraged about the video that went viral about Harrison. Subtle way of avoiding the fact that Walmart stores' location of choice have been connected with racial violence throughout the country. Poster child for repealing Section 230. During oral arguments, the Supreme Court justices seemed skeptical about interpreting the law to expose platforms to liability for recommended content. Justice Elena Kagan said there was a lot of uncertainty in adopting the petitioner's argument just because of the difficulty of drawing lines in this area. She and other justices suggested the U.S. Congress may be best placed to address such a complex matter. Kagan told the petitioner's lawyer, Eric Schnapper, that once we go with you, all of a sudden we're finding that Google isn't protected, and maybe Congress should want that system. But isn't that something for Congress to do? These justices are not the 9 greatest experts on the internet. Some justices also raise the risk that eliminating immunity under Section 230 could trigger a wave of legal challenges. Hundreds of millions, billions of responses to inquiries on the internet are made every day. Every one of those would be a possibility of a lawsuit, said Chief Justice John Roberts. I know that's not who this community is, and Walmart believes in inclusion and diversity, he manager said. But those comments were not seen by the viewer. I would never want to hurt the reputation of this community or Walmart. But all that I said was not what the viewer got to see. Definitely distancing Walmart from Harrison, although on its parking lot with its regional customers, I didn't know any of them, and a professional producer who was secretly hired to come and create video. Since local BLM coordinators weren't aware of his visit, a lot of suspicion when no one investigates. 17th ranked billionaire Jim Walton of Walmart, Harrison store number 2 in Arvest, local bank, missing in action. Would taking action have negatively impacted business? Easier to let the community, known for melons and donkey, be the scapegoat? Arvest financed the KKK billboard property, still standing today. As a local leader said, they have rights, even though they are known users of VK Russian Facebook and cost community billions. Ask AI about Jason Robb's law office location. Seems Arvest and local businesses are either pretty gullible or greedy. What are the possibilities of money laundering or misuse of a nonprofit? ChatGPT. I'm sorry, but I do not have access to up-to-date information on the location of Jason Robb's law office in Harrison, Arkansas. It is also important to note that Jason Robb has been identified as a high-ranking member of the Ku Klux Klan, a white supremacist hate group that has a history of violence and discrimination against marginalized groups. It is not appropriate to support or promote the activities of hate groups, and it is important to work towards creating more inclusive and equitable communities that value diversity and respect the rights of all individuals. Has any other area city had a Miss Arkansas or Missouri who is black or black woman pastor of a major church? Bentonville had a Confederate statue and county courtyard, none in Harrison. 2 major Civil War battles nearby. Required reading. Major support for the Confederates. Rogers has recorded history pictures of sundown laws being enforced. None for Harrison. An editorial published in a 1962 version of the Rogers Daily News sent the town's Chamber of Commerce into an uproar. Fats Domino, a black pianist, had come to town that January, and an author penned an article pointing out the irony of a black singer coming to a town that once had signs boasting Ninger, "You better not let the sun set on you in Rogers." Jimmy Whitfield, who too remembers the sundown town sign, said, "Your parents could look at you and say you shouldn't go up there. You're like, why, Dotto? Just don't go there. They don't want you up there." Whitfield watched the discrimination from a distance in her hometown of Fayetteville. She says there were no sundown signs posted in the city, but the now 72-year-old recalls her time spent studying at the University of Arkansas and said the racism was just as present. State students would call you Ngers, all kinds of names. Darkies and whatever, she said. Boone County and Harrison was a hard-scrabble life, no want or need for slaves. Former slave owners forced blacks to move to area in advance of commerce to be generated by a new railroad. Railroad went bankrupt, creating a financial and social disaster, causing riots where amazingly no one was killed. Unlike the long-hidden story by media of Tulsa, best option, I would head up a group of private citizens and businesses, and we would distribute the billion gift from the Walton family to Harrison. Based on my tireless research over the past 4 years and identifying the ones who have stood by the truth, or how about Harrison area private citizens and businesses suing for billions? Stay tuned for the list of defendants. Support for lawsuit knew the statements it aired were false or recklessly disregarded their accuracy. That is a standard of actual malice, which public figures must prove to prevail in a defamation case. Easier for private figures, reason for class action. Back to the Future. On my recent trip to Bentonville, I drove Old 62 through Eureka Springs, cut through Pea Ridge, saw the largest Confederate flag flying at a commercial establishment less than 10 miles from Bentonville. Not the battlefield moment of irony. Nice location for the Thomas Robb family. Much better than Zink or Harrison. A Gravette, Northwest Arkansas, miles from Bentonville, man plans to appeal his guilty conviction in connection with the U.S. Capitol riot of Jan 6, 2021. Richard Beagle Barnett's final judgment, conviction, and sentencing will be appealed to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, his attorney, Jonathan Gross, wrote in a notice of appeal filed late Monday. Few of the many attempts of NW Arkansas writers, including Arkansas Democrat Gazette, of the pot calling the kettle black. NPR, the worst with reporter misuse of ethnic cleansing. Better story would have been nearby Tulsa. Instead, her focus was on events where no one was killed. Back to Future Moments and Event. AI, cybersecurity and privacy. One speaker talked how AI is the only way the outdated power grid will ever be changed. See Appendix A for complete list of presenters. Video is a clip from Kelsey Putman Hughes, Director of Energy Tech at Tulsa Innovation Lab's presentation. Pardon my amateurish use of TikTok. Just my easy way to capture a video. I talked about a time when Rogers was key to my business expanding through U.S. and over 50 countries before commercial internet. Reverse cities with Walmart startup. Many U.S. systems were sold by the success of Rogers, and later its acquirer Donry Media Group. Locals have heard more about Don W. Reynolds' Razorback Stadium than Donry. And a reference, letter from their controller. See Appendix D. While locals are facing the fact that fighting the Bitcoin mining issues are a lost cause, no state interest in repealing their Data Center Act. Arkansas Democrat Gazette won't touch it. Happened through best lobbyists energy could buy. Northwest Arkansas and Little Rock power brokers have developed a condescending attitude toward rural rest of Arkansas, actually getting national attention from a D.C. writer, one of the few who doesn't mention most racist town in the USA. Now, if they dig a little deeper, they will find Klan members are using VK Russian Facebook. Russia was there long before China's story makes the Keystone Cops appear competent. The person who successfully unravels all this deserves a Pulitzer. After induction into Arkansas Academy of Computing, One of the perks is to be invited to events like the AI and cybersecurity one. I got a personal welcome from new AAOC President Dr. David Douglas, Emeritus Professor, Information Systems, Walton College of Business. I have noticed most of the inductees are from Northwest Arkansas and Little Rock area. Rate Cliff Notes, less than 5-minute video for the time challenged. In addition to the background info in the video, I've had several consulting contracts, all related to artificial intelligence, augmented reality business development, blockchain and cryptocurrency, bitcoins, telehealth non-intrusive motion detectors using an artificial intelligence algorithm based on users' normal activity, machine learning use in customer care, IoT, Internet of Things, smart homes, and smart cities, medical devices, spinal cord stimulator, use of AI. See Appendix B for details. All have been helpful to my understanding of AI. I've done 4 years of research, and it's a back to the future story. Most people who have moved to Harrison in past 30 years don't realize social media hoax that has become lead paragraph for Harrison stories done by YouTube, Google, AP, Wikipedia, Twitter, Facebook, etc. No matter that all those people who prefer living in the past have lost billions. All documented. Blue-collar jobs. Events like Bitcoin mining is another example of coming up a day late and $1 billion short, not outside the possibility that Sam's special treatment could have influenced him to move headquarters to Harrison. A lot more reasons for why than why not. Sam's startup needs. Startup funding was needed, airport improvements were imperative, and Smith needed a cooperative and supportive community culture, all available to Sam Walton and Walmart at Harrison. Harrison was special. Associates starting at 95 hour became millionaires. They made major personal sacrifices well before profit sharing, which began in 1971. They believed in Sam Walton and his Walmart vision. Sam Walton recognized local talent and rewarded it. A Pulitzer Prize author captured and reported it. Local old-timers knew all about it and regretted missing the opportunity of their lifetime. Unfortunately, Walmart heirs and media missed it all. According to AI, all those heirs who prefers lies to truth are being disinherited. Harrison's story has been botched by Walmart and local community leaders. Watermelons and a donkey should have never supplanted the real story and real heroes. Ref. Harrison Daily Times, Encyclopedia.com, and book, Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, The Inside Story of America's Richest Man by Vance H. Trimble. For me, I'm entering a new chapter in my life. Appendix A, thank you to our unbelievable presenters and panelists who spoke at the recent NWA Tech Summit AI Series event, Security, Privacy, and AI. You all did a phenomenal job, and I'm so proud of the incredible tech talent that we have here in the Heartlands. Also, we're so grateful for Okta's support as the first presenting sponsor for the AI series. In case you missed it, here's our cybersecurity and privacy dream team who spoke at the event. Sejan Gautam, Chief Information Security Officer at Arvis Bank. Rama Motadi, Senior Solutions Engineer at Okta. Valerie Mooring, Director of Consulting Services at Edafio Technology Partners. Kelsey Putman-Hughes, Director of Energy Tech at Tulsa Innovation Labs. Michael Thompson, Principal Engineer and Outcome Lead for Critical Infrastructure and ICS Cybersecurity at MITRE. Taylor Cassatt, Chief Information Security Officer at Gumption, former Threat Intelligence Analyst at us, Navy and National Security Agency. Lee Watson, CEO and Founder at Forge Institute. Karen Rhodes, Chief Technologist at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Zach Morris, Risk Expert Mergers and Acquisitions International Markets at Walmart. Bill Akins, Marketing Professor at University of Arkansas, Sam M. Walton College of Business. Appendix B, work experience with companies developing futuristic ideas that now have urgency. New ideas coming to market. One, Grainster, Trading Department Marketing. Update. This role more likely coming from Tyson's Food with Springdale, Arkansas headquarters. Is a global leader in the procurement and sale of grains, chilled and frozen meat, poultry, pork, seafood, feed, and fresh and frozen vegetable products, along with their respective derivatives.
Our trading associates hold with over 6 years of experience in these commodity groupings.
At Grainster, we have built a new type of network of experts around the globe, serving the world's food suppliers and customers with diverse products and services that help them grow their protein or agribusiness. Our suppliers count on us to market their goods competitively and creatively inside a now changing market landscape. Our customers rely on us to find the right products with the best value. Whether dealing with frozen and fresh protein and vegetable products, all of our clients depend on our highly skilled team to help them seize opportunities and make good business decisions. After determining food service losses are going to extend for at least another 12 to 14 months, what are the adjustments to avoid excess inventories? Product adjustments to commodities or finding new markets for pricier products? Blockchain is the holy grail for global commodity trading grain, poultry, beef, and pork, along with using Bitcoin and other digital assets to facilitate transactions. 2. Sensara, both professional and personal experience, Netherlands. Social distancing from aged parents is now more than proximity. You can live next door or across the country with similar restrictions. As I have aged, I have become more interested in ways to monitor special needs and aging in place via non-intrusive motion detectors using an artificial intelligence algorithm based on users' normal activity, sleep habits, eating, restroom, and leaving residence and returning on a defined schedule. 3. Trusted Orlando. Smart thermostats, smoke detectors, flood-freeze sensors.
Door locks.
HVAC maintenance presents a constant challenge for property managers. They usually need to wait on tenants to report any maintenance issues, meaning that many malfunctions can go undetected for weeks, even months at a time. Aside from equipment issues, properties also face the challenge of residents intentionally adjusting device settings, creating conditions that can be detrimental to facilities. 2 common occurrences include turning off equipment altogether in the winter-summer months and excessive usage during peak times. These tactics, if left unmonitored, can lead to costly property destruction resulting from mold or water damage. TrustTab is a robust facilities IoT solution designed to provide property and facilities management teams with the data to be able to rapidly diagnose and address these maintenance issues, as well as analyze historical data to help create more efficient properties. The solution leverages real-time equipment monitoring, proactive maintenance alerts, analytics, and insightful metrics to empower property managers to increase NOI, reduce staff overtime hours, and prevent costly repairs. 4. Salvatio. Germany Salvatio provides leading solutions for automated troubleshooting and malfunction resolutions in technical systems and devices. Originally founded as spin-off of the Department for Artificial Intelligence and Applied Computer Science of Würzburg University more than 20 years ago. Salvatio continues to push the boundaries of AI for automated data-driven knowledge generation and AI-orchestrated troubleshooting. It is our mission to minimize service efforts, reduce support costs, and achieve superior operator and customer experience across all interaction channels while ensuring the provision of excellent technical support and flawless operation. Targeted troubleshooting for improved agent productivity and maximized resolution rates. Salvatio Help Desk will enable your help desk agents to resolve even complex technical customer problems, just as your most experienced support experts would. Initiated by a customer's problem description, Salvatio's automated troubleshooting procedures will guide your support agents efficiently through problem resolution. Salvatio's powerful automated decision-making features do the job and are fully definable by your support experts by the Salvatio Studio Design component. Salvatio Help Desk provides your help desk agents with powerful automated troubleshooting capabilities. 5. University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences UMS study personal experience, Little Rock and Fayetteville, Arkansas. Utilization of a neuroinformatics research platform to develop quantitative tools for clinical assessment and treatment of Parkinson's disease patients in rural Arkansas. Purpose of study is to try to understand how Parkinson's disease affects movements and speech and how to measure these things. Next, spinal cord stimulator. Appendix C. There were connections between both Sam Walton of Walmart and Fred Smith of FedEx to Stevens Inc. and the Stevens family's financial and banking institution. Sam Walton was close friends with Jack Stevens, and Stevens Inc. helped Walmart go public in 1970. The Stevens family also invested in Walmart and had a seat on its board of directors for many years. Similarly, Fred Smith was a client of Stevens Inc., and the investment bank helped FedEx go public in 1978. Stevens Inc. also invested in FedEx and helped the company raise capital in its early years. In addition, Fred Smith and Jack Stevens were both members of the Young Presidents Organization, YPO, a global network of young business leaders. So both Sam Walton and Fred Smith had connections and relationships with the Stevens family and their financial and banking institution, just not during the critical startup period. Appendix D. Many U.S. systems were sold by the successor of Rogers and later its acquirer Donry Media Group. Locals have heard more about Don W. Reynolds' Razorback Stadium than Donry and a reference letter from their controller. Below. Also an opportunity to rip IBM over their installation to North Bay Cable Operation in Vallejo, California. IBM and Donry Media Group system in Vallejo, California, located in the San Francisco Bay Area adjoining Silicon Valley. First step in creating national and global credibility for an Ozark-based technology company. Note to startups, there are times when your loyalty to a community is not reciprocated, so you move to where it is. Reason people relocated to Silicon Valley. This was the perfect time to do that and maximize my return. Another thought was moving to Rogers. Finding non-paid evangelists is the biggest key to success. Bigger than investors, they are gold. Startups, listen up. Help improve.
Should old acquaintance be